An Auckland pug has been treated like a thug, with the council seizing it over a missed registration payment and threatening death if the bill wasn't paid within a week. Owner Semaine Cato was at work when an Auckland Council worker entered her Point Chevalier property and took dog Vinnie to a West Auckland pound. She admits not paying the registration fee but says she hadn't received a warning and feels the council could have tried harder to contact her. Semaine, who has another pug called Cola, wants the council to reconsider its processes, telling Lydia Batham they should only take a dog as a last resort.
We live in a fully fenced property, but we have a cat door, so the dogs can come in and out as they please. One of our friends had popped over to our property to collect something and saw that there was a note from the council. Called me, told me about the situation. He didn't read the note, so I just said, look, just take a photo of it and send it through so I can see what it's all about. One of the notes said, you have a black unregistered pug on your property. We tried to catch her, but we couldn't. You need to register her to avoid impoundment. And I was like, oh, that's a bit extreme. And then there was another notice to say that they had taken Vinnie. I guess the shocking thing for me was that someone had actually entered my property without my permission and just taken my dog. The second part that really made me super upset was the print on the notice said, if you don't collect your dog and if all fees aren't paid within 7 days, that the animal will be sold, destroyed or disposed of. It made me feel so upset because I know that 2020 has been such a hard year for a lot of people. You know, are they preying on vulnerable people who haven't paid their dog registrations on time? And then are those people going to lose their animals because they can't afford the fee to get the dogs out of the pound? So I called the council and spent some time with various people on the phone that told me to look up the Dog Control Act 1996, Section 42, which does actually state that they're legally allowed to enter your property and remove your dog.
Presumably your dogs had been registered and then it had just lapsed.
Yeah, so Vinnie was registered. Admittedly, Cola hasn't been registered, but Vinnie's registration has lapsed. I didn't know how far out it had lapsed. We've been in between properties because we've been doing a renovation. I hadn't had any phone calls. And maybe in their defence, they had sent letters, but they'd been lost in between us moving. If they could send someone out to the property physically, why didn't they leave a note on the door like they did when they took Vinnie to say, hey, look, we have tried to contact you on numerous occasions without success. You have a dog whose registration is out of date. Please register him, otherwise we'll have no choice but to come back and seek further action.
Obviously, your dogs are healthy, happy, obviously in a completely secure environment. Does it surprise you that they could just be taken and literally it's 7 days that you're given until they could be sold or worse, the unthinkable really, and that in some cases we know that there are animals that are in dire circumstances that don't get uplifted?
I've known of situations where animals have been mistreated or they're chained in the backyard and they're not a pet, they're just there on the property. Yet the SPCA can't exercise their power to go and help that animal, whereas the council, for the sake of $140, can. It's just really unbalanced. A police officer can't even enter my property without jumping through a lot of hoops to issue a warrant. How come the council can do it? For me, it just doesn't sit right, and it's left us feeling quite uneasy knowing that someone has entered our private property.